This is Guns, Knives, and Watches Boy, and we're pulling out that there green car pack again. Why? Because I'm going to address an issue real quick. And it's all about cover. You've seen a lot of people, including me, and you've seen me say things like, I carry this because I'm being a smartass. And that is the 5x7 SOL tarp. Is this a very good tarp that is 5 foot by 7 foot? Yes, it is. Are these stakes really great? Yes, they are. The only problem is what these are really set up for, and the reason I carry them, is because they are secondary shelter. If I have the car breaks down on the side of the road, my primary shelter, of course, is that vehicle. I can fold down the rear seats and have access from the front of the passenger compartment all the way to the back of the trunk, and basically create a bunch of flat areas. Outside of that, for cooking, doing things this, that, or the other, you can use a secondary tarp. Will this, in a if you have to leave the car situation, sustain multiple people? No, it will not. This is for a secondary shelter outside of a vehicle or as a single person emergency shelter. Now, what else can you do? You could, if you wanted to, on the cheap, of course. People have sat there and talked about, we got that there heavy duty tarpaulin, man. That there 12 feet by 16 feet, and we got a sample of that there fabric, man. You got that there brown on the outside and blue on the inside, and we gonna get her done, boy. And in reality, there's nothing wrong with this. Not at all. If you have a bunch of people and you are going to go out and you are going to be separated from your vehicle, this, there, or the other. Now, is that a light option? Probably not. Is it a small compact option? Probably not. But let's say we have a few people and we're going to have to do 1,500 feet of elevation in an hour, hour and a half. And, you know, we're going to be separated from our vehicle. We're going to be miles out in the wilderness. We need an emergency shelter, something that we can honestly get into and use. And the 5x7 tarp, even though it would work for a couple people in an emergency situation, possibly 3, depending on how close you all are, I need something that's going to have a little bit more square footage. Because you have to understand, when you're using those things the way I use them as secondary shelter, you know, the 5x7 doesn't matter. Because you're dealing with a person who's working outside of the car, working on fire, working on cooking, working on purifying water, working on this, that, or the other, and gives you some other options, okay? Now, there's no wrong answers to this. Of course, we've seen my North Face coat that I have multiple copies of, my hats, which I have multiple copies of, and this is that their Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. But Guns, Knives, and Watches, why didn't you go out and spend $100 on a tarp or $150 on a tarp, or, you know, $80 on a tarp? Because given current economic situations, and I understand that on Monday stocks are probably going to recover a certain amount, this, that, or the other, and things are going to feel a little bit better, and probably people are very nervous right now because of the stocks going down, and they'll go up on Monday and people will get a little warm and fuzzy feeling inside. But the long trend, whether you understand that or not, and the long trend isn't on the stock market, it isn't in I guess the It's what your dollar will buy. This, of course, is a very expensive tent. It's the Copper Spur UL2. It is rated for a 2 people, but it can be used a lot of different ways. You can set up the rain fly and the ground cloth and create a lot more square footage than what this UL2 is actually rated for in an emergency situation, because you expand the footprint of the tent out into the vestibules. You could use the tent as a cover, as a sheet at a night to try and keep you warm, because air moving over your body, of course, will, cool you down. What I'm saying is, there's really no wrong way to approach this if you are open to any possibilities. And the way to do that is to use your gear regularly and be very adaptable. You can see on this kit also, I've got this titanium canteen, which I have made fun of in the past. But if you paid $140 for it, with the canteen cup and the canteen cup lid and that there titanium man, this, there, or the other, there is nothing wrong with using it. Will I make fun of it? Yes, of course. It's a $140 titanium canteen. You could have bought a clean canteen, a GSI cup, and called it a fucking day, and been out of, around, $30. Is this very cool? Is it very nostalgic? Is it very this, there, or the other? Yeah. But you gotta understand, it's like watches. It gets to a point to where you get past the actual usability of it and you get into the fashion of it and just what you like. The difference between $35, and I don't even have that much in my my clean canteens and GSI cups, and $140 is your taste. It's like the difference between the G-Shock watch and a Rolex. I hate to sit there and tell you, the G-Shock really might work out better. Mine's solar and works off the radio waves, so it's always accurate because it's working off the nuclear, that there nuclear type clock, man. Of course, if the grid goes down, man, that there Rolex will start to shine. But that's just the way it is. We're dealing in reality, not some hypothetical fantasyland bullshit. Is the nuclear clock going to go down? Probably not, because that's what the military uses, and I think there might be some type of, consideration of that. I don't know, but I can guess. So when you're putting your kit together, now does this have the canteen cup, and then we've also got the Morse pot over here. Okay, because this kit is designed for sustainability in whatever situation for multiple people. Now, am I going to keep this tent in here, and is a $400 tent the option for you? No, but what I want you to do is I want you to expand your thinking beyond what people tell you. Adapt your pack to your environment, what you're going through, and what you're exposed to. Of course, you've seen people like me with these SOLs. They're not a bad deal. $15, man. They're very good tarps, and they're a hell of a lot better than those grabbers. And then we've got the GSI stakes. If it's just a single individual kit, that's fine. If you're just trying to expand a system, as far as my systems all revolve around a vehicle, because we are not going to leave a vehicle out in the field. because our vehicles are all highly modified, then that's fine. And we want to be seen, so it's orange. It's also reflective on the inside, so any fire, heat reflects back on you. So these are an option for us. Very economical, very affordable. More people, rock the big tarp, okay? Is anybody going to give a shit in the end of the day? And if someone judges you on that, what does that really say about them? It's not about having the most money. It's not about having this, that, or the other. It's about having something in the pack and something that's usable to save your life in an emergency situation. Do I also carry a poncho liner in my car? Yes, I do, because poncho liners are very light. What do? I wrap it in the area of the spare tire well. So my car always has a poncho liner. That works with this. Works with the tent, works with whatever else. What I'm basically saying is expand your mind into the possibilities, and don't get limited by what someone else tells you is correct, because they're the expert. In my life, in my career, I've always had the best results when I think outside the box. And I don't exactly pattern off of everyone else. And I try to do things in such a way to where things are the most cost effective and the most usable. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches. Peace out. Baby man, yeah, I did. Don't get it done, man.